Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. And it is time for my May channel update. So what's going on the channel? Well, I don't know how many of you have noticed, but I've been trying, as far as the channel goes, to be a little more consistent and periodic in my postings of videos. For instance, I've been trying to have a update on my build videos posted by every Sunday morning, California, US time. I generally do it, set it for about 7 a.m. in the morning for no other reason than it's just a cool time. So that's what I think I'm going to do from here on out, you know, as I have them, of course, but to do use that for my step-by-step builds, since they take so much time. Start releasing them every Sunday morning, and that way people can keep up if they want. If I have two projects on the go at a time, I'll probably alternate, like one week say an aircraft, the next week back to the armor, the next week back to the aircraft, next week back to the armor. If I only have one, then I'll just run them together. And it seems to be working pretty good. The video's been getting kind of long because I'm getting kind of a little more in depth with what I'm doing. But yet trying to keep it tight, not being repetitive as far as, like if I'm doing a bogie suspension part on a Sherman, for instance, I won't show you me building each one of them, all 6 of them. I'll demonstrate the one, then do the rest off camera. So I've been trying to keep it a little more concise, yet the videos seem to be getting longer. But nobody's complained, and the people that have remarked that I've asked have said they like it. So that's what we'll do for a while. And then during the week, as I have other things, supplemental videos, whether it be like a mail call thing or just kind of an update on what I'm doing, or if I'm doing a project that I'm not doing a build or a step-by-step, I will just do periodic updates on it. I'll do that during the week. If I'm trying out a new technique or trying out something, whatever, I'll probably do those through the week, and it won't be consistent. It'll just be as they pop up. So with that part out of the way, let's take a look at the bench and see what's actually going on. Alright, so first up, let's talk about what's new on the bench. Not a whole lot. I talked about some of this stuff in mail call. I got some orders in this month, and one of the items I got in that's new to me is Mr. Metal Primer. And I want to try this since I use photo etch parts and metal barrels on some of the tanks that I work with. The paint can be really fragile even with primer, and this is supposed to help a bit with that. So I'm going to be trying this stuff out, and I'm kind of eager to try it, see if it works, because there's nothing more frustrating than be working on the kit and then seeing a big shiny spot where there's some photo etch showing through, or aluminum from a barrel. So I've got Mr. Metal Primer, so we'll be trying that pretty soon. Another new item that I got, I've heard some people talk about this, and in my non-stop quest for looking at different types of paints, this so-called third generation AK paint, I thought I'd give it a try, and I got a color that I know I'll be able to use regardless if I can use it in my airbrush or not. I got this rubber black. One of the reasons I'm looking at it is I'm always looking for alternatives to the smellier paints, and I use Tamiya pretty much exclusively for spraying, unless it's a clear, and I'll use different products for that. But I'd like to be able to spray something, since I'm sharing this room with my wife, since she works at home now, and to kind of keep the odors down. So I thought I'd try a bottle of this. I've heard that brush paints really well, so I figured with a color like rubber black, I can't miss. And if it sprays well, then all the better. And I have to say that in trying it with a paintbrush, it really paints really good. I like it more so even than Model Air paints, which I use for brush painting a lot. It seems to be a little bit thicker, and it seems to flow really well from the brush. So I don't know, maybe we're gonna be seeing some good improvements in water-based acrylics. But so far so good. I haven't tried it with an airbrush yet, and I'll report back on what I find. My biggest problem with these kind of paints seems to be having to just skin up in the cup really bad. You don't have to worry about that with Tamiya as much. The thing with Tamiya is, if you put a solvent in there, it just dissolves what's there, and even if it does start to dry up a bit, so you don't have to worry about chunks and chips and stuff clogging up. Whereas when I've used, and one of the primary reasons I quit using this in an airbrush is it skins up, and when you start cleaning it, it doesn't dissolve out of the airbrush so much as it just comes off the surface. So you've got all these bits and chips, and you got to be careful you don't clog it up, and it's a pain. So that's why I use Tamiya for spraying. But I'm gonna give this a shot and see how it works. May have the same problem, I don't know, maybe it won't be as bad, but I like trying new stuff once in a while, and it wasn't very much, and I was already placed an order anyway, so I figured let's give it a shot. Next up, this isn't really a new item for me, but it's a new style. Model Master acrylic. I really like using this stuff for spraying my flat coats on models because it seems to blend the decal film into the surface a lot better than even, say, Tamiya. The Tamiya seems to conform to the detail a little bit better, so it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't accentuate, but it doesn't eliminate decal film. Whereas with the Model Master acrylic, it seems to really just kind of minimize the little edge that you get from decals. But what's new is I finally got some semi-gloss, because there's some things like on aircraft I kind of like a semi-gloss a little bit better than just a plain flat. I just think it looks a little bit better. Whether or not it's right or not, I don't know, but in a lot of photographs when you see aircraft just sitting on the ground, sometimes there'll be just a bit of a sheen to it, and I think this will help with that while still minimizing decal edges or whatever. So although it's not new because I use the flat a lot, it's the first time I've tried the semi-gloss. Also, I talked about this in my mail call video earlier in the month. The Mini Art Tank Crew, U.S. Tank Crew Northwest Europe, that I need for my Sherman project, and this seems to be the Mini Art figures are really nice. I've gotten some before, I just haven't painted them, but I'm really wanting to start learning how to paint these things. So I got this set, and so far so good. One of the figures had quite a bit of flash on it, and it was kind of a pain to clean up, but not too bad. But the other figure I got that I'm working on, which is this guy right here, there wasn't much flash, and the cleanup was a little bit easier. So I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So that's pretty much new stuff. Now, old stuff that I'm finally using. A few years back, I got this Abteilung 502 Flesh Color set, and they're oils, just like the rest of their 502 series. And I've been wanting to learn how to paint figures, and I got this some time back, and I just wasn't doing very well with it, and it was just driving me nuts. But I thought, I'm gonna try it again. And a little trick I found online, somebody hipped me to, Ben Brandis, as a matter of fact, hipped me to a video to some figure painting tutorial. on figure painting and how this one guy does it, and he gets really really good results. And for me, I'm not looking for like award-winning figures. I'm just looking for something to accentuate and to add a little bit more interest to my vehicles. So this particular method seems pretty good. Just real briefly, one of the things this person does is he uses an acrylic for the base layer on a face, say, and which covers really well, and then from there he uses the oil paints to build up all the shadows and highlights and skin tones and stuff like that. And I've tried it out, and again, I'll talk about it in a minute whenever I get to my figure thing. But it seems to work really well, and I really like these paints. They're really super smooth. They thin well. You get really good control over the viscosity, and it just, for me so far, it seems to work pretty good. So keep an eye out in the future to see more of this set. The next thing is this right here. This is my homemade wet palette for using acrylics, because I plan on using acrylics to do the uniforms on my figures. And so I looked around and I found this in the bottom of the cabinet, and got me a sponge, put me some parchment paper on there. I got some paints on here already that I'm going to be using to work on the uniform on a figure. But this lid thing here, my wife ordered these, and they're just like some kind of a latex stretchy material, and they form a super good seal. I had one of my I had some other colors on here, and it really seals well. I didn't have anything dry out. Because this thing just stretches around like that and forms a really nice seal. And you can tip, I'm not going to do it on my desk here because as sure as I do, something will happen, but you can tip them upside down and it maintains the seal and everything else, and it works really good. So I was really stoked. And they come in a bunch of different sizes. They're not very expensive, and I can't tell you where she got them because I don't know, and I don't have a link for it or anything else. But if you really want to know, just leave me a comment and I'll find out from her where she got it. But another trick I heard about, I didn't actually come up with it on my own, but I had a wet palette before that was a failure because I just lost interest in trying to paint figures. But it starts smelling kind of funky. But I was using regular tap water, so I switched over to distilled water, and after a week, and it's been kind of hot around here, a little warmer than usual, no funky smell, so keep that in mind. Distilled water might be pretty good. But for those who don't know what a wet palette is for, it's for using with acrylic paints. And if you're, say, you're painting a figure and you're getting some good mixes going up for different tones and stuff or whatever, this will help keep, you don't have to clean it all up and redo it every time. You can just leave it on here and it's ready to go when you come back to do some more painting. A lot of people use it. You can even buy these things pre-made, and I may at some point, but it just really helps when you're using acrylic paints, because sometimes you can't just sit down and paint a figure all at once. So this just helps keep your paint fresh, keep it moist, keep it from drying out. And the last thing of old items that I have that I'm finally using are my decent brushes. I got these Colibri brushes, and they're really nice brushes, and they have really fine points to them. They're just really made in Germany, and they seem to be really good brushes. And so with painting figures, that's all these brushes are going to be for, is painting figures. I have some fine brushes for other stuff, but I've got those, and then I've also got these Da Vinci Usuri Sable. I've got these as well. These are really nice. One of the nice things about these is the handle's kind of largish, so it's, gives you a little bit more to grip grip onto. And that brings me to another item that I forgot I'd gotten this month, and that is this Brush Magic fast acting brush cleaner. I heard about this on Scale Model Podcast. You can look that up on your podcast things. That's what it's called, and it's easy to find. But it's called Brush Magic. So I checked out a few videos, read a few reviews about it. It seems to work. You know, people have good things to say about it. And all it is a brush cleaner. And for instance, I tried it out, and this is just an example of one I haven't cleaned yet. As you can see, that's a pretty grubby looking brush, right? Well, this next brush I'm going to show you look just like it. And look at it now. So the stuff really does work, and it's not a harsh chemical. It doesn't have, it's low odor, non-flammable, and it really does work. I was surprised, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to order some and clean up my brush, see what it looks like. So I'm going to clean up all my brushes and just try and maintain them a little bit better. Some of them are pretty nasty looking. Here's another one that I cleaned up. It was all dirty, but as you can see, it cleaned up really well. So if you have an opportunity to try this stuff, you just have trouble cleaning your brushes, and it doesn't seem to dry the brush out as much as, say, lacquer cleaner. Lacquer cleaner will clean them, but it's pretty harsh stuff. And this isn't harsh like that, but it does a really good job cleaning. So if you get a chance, maybe try it out. I recommend it. But anyway, brushes, one of my other older items that I'm finally using. All right, so what do we have going on as far as kits on the bench? So one kit that I finished this month and I did a series on, and I will put a link up in the corner for you so you can follow along. I'm going to do the whole playlist so you can check it out if you like. But is the Eduard 148 scale weekend edition of the BF 109 E3. So I got this done this month, and I'm really stoked with the way it turned out. The kit was a really good kit, fit together really well. There was a few weird things with the front end in the instructions and the way it fit together, because it's kind of designed to be put together with the cowlings open, which is cool if you want that, but if you don't, you have to do some extra things to get the cowling to fit in place. And the instructions are kind of vague in that, and I covered that in the video, but other than that, overall, it was a really nice kit. And this was sent to me by Peter Person. I'll put a link to his channel in the description box if you want to check it out. He's got some pretty cool builds going on. He does a good variety of stuff. He likes to build armor, armor-related subjects like, you know, trucks and stuff like that. And he also likes to do a lot of automotive kits, especially U.S. muscle cars. So he's got some pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, he sent me this kit. Thanks again, Peter. And it was a really fun kit to build. And that was the one kit that I actually did finish this month. And for my in progress kit, I've got the Asuka 1/35 scale M4A3 76 wet VVSS late. All that is to say, it's got a 76 millimeter gun, wet stowage, vertical volute suspension, late model. I think this was the last model to have the vertical volute suspension before they went with the HVSS, which is, you know, sometimes referred to as an Easy 8, the horizontal suspension. Now, this kit was sent to me by Harold Adams, and this is a really nice kit. You'll hear people talk a lot about the Asuka kits and how great they are. They have a really good level of detail. They're pretty easy to assemble. It's like a Tamiya kit with extra detail. So, you know, if you're building Tamiya kits and you want to, you know, kind of try some other stuff that's kind of similar, it's not too difficult. Asuka kits are great. So far on this one, I'm up to weathering the lower hull. I've done some oil work on the upper hull and the turret. Done the detail painting except for the periscopes. So the next thing I need to do is I just need to start adding some more weathering on the turret and the upper hull. Get that done, and then get my figure finished, and this project will be pretty much done. But it really is a good kit. I like the fact that Asuka makes so many varieties of Sherman for those of us who think they are just awesome vehicles. I'm going to add a little bit of extra stowage. Haversack / musette bag kind of detail for the crew. I'll put some stuff in the package tray back here. And then I'll have 1 or 2 figures. I'm going to for sure have a figure in the commander's cupola, and I'll try and get one in the driver's hatch there since I have it open. But great kit. It's been a lot of fun so far, and it's getting near completion, and I've got a series going on that, so I'll put a link to part 1, and then from there you can follow along if you want to watch that. All right, in conjunction with that is the aforementioned Mini Art US Tank Crew, Northwest Europe. So this is one figure I'm working on right now. I got them cleaned up, glued together, primed, and I've done the face on here. Now this is, keep in mind, this is my first one that I've done with oils, so don't be too critical or harsh, but it looks pretty good for my first attempt, I think. And I think once I get some practice in, it's really going to help. And I've discovered that an Optivisor is a good thing. That really helps in painting this. And it's amazing the fine detail you can get with properly thin paint and a #1 brush that has a really good tip on it. That's the only brush I used on this so far, except for doing the base coat of an acrylic. But pretty stoked so far. So the next thing I'm going to do is start painting the uniform. I've got my colors in my wet palette there, so I can start doing that. So I can start painting the base coat and then doing some shading and highlighting. So we'll see how that turns out. But this has been pretty cool so far. I'm really stoked. This is the part that seems intimidating to me, is painting the faces. And my first one, not too bad. So pretty stoked. All right, and last but not least, the next thing is an upcoming project I'm going to be starting here real soon, like within the next few days. And that is the old Tamiya German SDKFZ 250/3 Greif. General Erwin Rommel's command vehicle. So I'm not going to do it right now, but I am going to be doing a I'll do an inbox look, and then I don't think I'm going to do a step-by-step on this one. I think this is going to be one that I'm going to be working on and doing updates as I go. But surprisingly, there's not a whole lot that I could find online, whether it be forums or YouTube videos or whatever, that talk about this kit too much. It's a really old kit. The copyright date on it is not anywhere on the box, but it's a kit that's been around since I think '79. The instructions, is there a copyright date on the instructions? Don't see one. I don't remember what ScaleMate said, but I think it's one that's been around since like '79, I think. So it's pretty old. But it seems to be a pretty good kit. The figures, you know, they're Tamiya figures. They're older Tamiya figures, and we'll look at those whenever I do my review. But one interesting thing is this one's actually made in Japan. It's not one of the ones that's farmed out to some other place like the Philippines. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but It's actually made in Japan, but looks like a really good kit. I really want to go do a good. I've kind of been getting the vibe to do, or the urge to do some desert vehicles. So I'd like to do some, obviously, some German DAK vehicles, and I'd also like to do some like desert rat, British desert rat kind of things. I used to really be into the African theater of operations, and I've kind of gotten away from that in adult life. But just in seeing photos and reading stuff, and a few people have been doing different projects, and it's just kind of re-sparked my interest. So look for more desert things, but this will be the first one. I'm going to pretty much do it out of the box. I'm probably going to add some, try and improve some of the details. Take a look at some of this stuff and see if it needs to be replaced. Say the machine gun, if it's too soft, then I'll do a replacement on that. But looks like a good project. I'm looking forward to starting it, and so stay tuned for that and see what happens. So that's pretty much everything on the bench right now, or what's passed across my bench, if it's new stuff or whatever. The last thing I want to talk about, and I put up a video last week, I think, with an apology for not answering questions on my comment section. I'm always saying, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, blah, 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 put them in the description or in the comment section, and I'll answer them as quick as I can. And so, I'd keep an eye on my YouTube page in the upper right hand corner where the little bell thing is, says, gives you a number in a red circle saying you've got like 3 comments or whatever. So I'd go in, it's like, oh, thanks for complimenting, or what I think, blah, blah, blah. Or if somebody had a question, I would answer the question. So I thought I was doing pretty good. But then when I was in my YouTube creator portion of my YouTube channel, I clicked on comments, and I had a junk ton of comments, and it's like, where'd these all come from? So I started reading through them, and I have some, who knows how old some of them are. I think I went back about 4 months trying to answer questions, and so I had to offer an apology. I didn't know they were there because my comment little bell is not telling me about all of the comments, and maybe it's supposed to be like that, or maybe it's something that's changed. But I feel like a knucklehead, so I thought I would just offer an apology, say, hey, don't mean to ignore anybody, so I answered what I could. So what I'm doing is I'm going, every time I get on my YouTube channel, after I see what videos have been posted, the first thing I'm doing is going into the comment section, the other comment section, and seeing if there's any comments I need to, questions or anything like that I need to answer, because, my main goal in this channel is to help out any modelers that I can, especially beginners, because, I'm not kind of some professional or something, but if I can offer help, that's what I want to do. So, somebody suggested, and I don't remember who it was because of all the comments, but somebody said, why don't you save up all those comments? And other channels do it. I didn't think, it's like, why not? Anybody that has questions, maybe, periodically, and it would depend on how many comments or questions I get, maybe do periodic Q&As. And it wouldn't be some big elaborate thing. It'd basically be me saying, this person asked this, here's my answer, here's my thoughts, or whatever. And that way, it's not only helping the person that I'm asking, and I plan on typing response to that person, but also answering it to the general population of my subscribers, or whoever watches my videos, to try and help out numerous people. So that's the idea. So what do you think about a Q&A every once in a while? Put it in the comment section down below, and I promise I'll see it and I'll remark. But let me know what you think. Also, another thing, if you didn't watch my apology thing, now I haven't even hit 2,500 subscribers yet, but I do get quite a few comments, and I love it. It's great because it shows there's people watching my stuff, and there's interaction going, and I'm being helpful to someone. So I may not answer, or I may not comment on all the comments that I get. Now, if there are comments that are like more specific, like, you know, oh, that looks really cool, how did you do this, then we'll get into that. Or where did you find it? Stuff like that. If it's something that doesn't need to go in a question and answer thing, then I won't put it in it. But for those of you who say, you know, it's like, oh, great looking kit, keep up the good work, I thank you. I really do. I may not comment to every single one of those type of comments. It'll just depend on the comment load. Right now I can, and I try to as much as possible. But if I don't be offended. I read every single comment because like I said, you know, I may have 2,500 subscribers, but there's probably 30 that actually watch all the time. I don't know. So right now I can answer all that stuff, but if I don't get offended. It's just, you know, I appreciate the you know, the comments saying great job, or that looks good, or, you know, good idea, or whatever like that. If I don't comment, don't take offense. But if you have a specific question, I will be getting to that on the comment section and in a Q&A. Okay, so that is another change I'm going to do to the channel. So tell me what you think about that. So I think that's pretty much it. So that's the wrap up for channel update for the month of May and what's coming up in June, hopefully. So as always, I really appreciate everybody watching my videos. Thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for all the comments and questions that I'm getting, and whatnot on all my videos. So stay tuned for more stuff. I'll have another update here in probably a few days, when I kind of do an intro on the SDKFZ 250/3 Greif Rommel's command vehicle, because I want to get that one started pretty soon. So just stay tuned for more updates and stuff, and I'll put some links below, and hopefully you saw the links up in the top corner. I'm not sure which side it's on, that side or that side, because I don't do them very often, but hopefully you saw those early on. But I'll also put links in the description too, in case you didn't. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and I'll see you all later.